guys, it's Talisha, and today, today I am riding Kai because you guys haven't really seen any recent clips of me riding Kai for a while now. So I thought I would just show you guys where we are at, as well as get some photos and yeah, just updated photos, because I think I've had some videos posted of him like a month or so ago, but I haven't had any recent photos of him for ages. So while we have time and are not competing, Kyle is going to take some photos. And the shirt I am wearing today is by one of my sponsors, Trot Equestrian. So I thought I'd get some more photos in their stuff, and all links for them are in the description.
Carol Baskin.
Killed her husband. Whacking. Do you know the rest? So we are going to be tacking Kai up in the paddock just because Mum and Dad have been like hedging, and there are a heap of branches at my hitching post as well as a car because the branches have taken up a lot of room. So it's just easier to tack him up in the paddock because, well, there's no way to really tack him up out here. So we're going to bring all his gear over to him, and yeah. So this is where we are tacking Kai up. Bambi's out eating, which is why he's like, why don't I have my food? You can wait for yours. A shiny pony. All three of my horses are so shiny, and Kai is so dirty, and you will know when I show you this. That is dirt. Yet he's so shiny. Looking cute. Only just fits him along the top. This is Kai's first ever time wearing a bonnet.
He looks ugly.
It does not. You don't. You look cute. Okay. Let's see how we go. He looks like a moose with his ears look even bigger with the bonnet. Are we happy with the bonnet? We don't seem to care. It's probably nice, and you don't have the flies annoying you. No flies. No flies. Okay. Love. Alright. That was a horrible mount. Okay guys, so I figured I would do a voiceover to talk you through my training on a normal flat ride with Kai. So first of all, I always start every single horse I ride or own on a long rein, in a long and low walk, then a long and low trot. No matter what age or experience any of my horses are, they are all started this way to warm up. I believe that every horse should be warmed up this way if they can be. Obviously some horses that are particularly hot or, you know, have certain reasons can't be warmed up this way, but I love all of my horses to be warmed up this way. So Bambi couldn't be warmed up like this at the start when I first got her, just because she was a particularly little fiery horse at times when I first got on her, especially being in a new place when I moved her home. But over time she has now been able to warm up like this all the time, and so do all the other horses I ride. So Kai is always fairly inconsistent when he starts this, just like any horse. At the start of the ride it's harder for them to go into the contact, and they find it easier once they warm up, but he's come really far with this, and I'm so proud of him. And then once I'm getting good work out of him, I then shorten him up and start trotting again. So Kai has only recently really started focusing on this shorter frame work. I did do a bit of it probably last year sometime, and then I'd stop doing it for a while just because he was young and he didn't really have the strength to hold himself in this type of frame. And as you can see, he still doesn't. At the start of the rides when we first start, he's always very inconsistent and trying to come out of the contact. But I do have more clips of me trotting later on, which is at the end of the ride, and you will see how much he improved throughout the ride. So he does get mouthy as well, and that's just a young horse thing, of just trying to evade the contact. He is ridden in a rubber bit, so it's nothing harsh. It's just a way of evading the contact. So as you can see, now I'm cantering him, going through transitions. He has always really struggled with his canter. The canter is the hardest gait for horses, so young horses find it particularly hard to balance themselves and work correctly. But he actually works in a nicer frame in the canter than he does in the trot. He's more consistent, I should say, in the canter. He typically likes his head fairly low, so you will see him kind of pulling down, because when I give him the reins completely, he will just work with his head really low, because he naturally is a fairly downhill horse, and that's just a more comfortable position for him. So he's literally the opposite to my other young horse, Bambi, where she is a very uphill horse and wants to work uphill. So as you can see there, I'm doing my Canada walks. He's very good on the laterals. He does all his laterals really well when he's not in a frame, as well as his Canada halts and walk to canters. He finds them really easy when he's not working in a frame, but finds them a little bit harder once he's rounded through his back and working properly, which is quite funny. So after all the canter work here, I started trotting him out again, and you can see the massive difference in how he's working compared to the start of the ride in the trot. He's not mouthy, he's not trying to evade the pressure, he's working fairly consistently and really soft through his back. And then to end the ride, I then, again, and something I do on every single horse I ride, I go back to the long and low. And typically, as it is the end of the ride, they are softer, and they've really warmed up their muscles, so it is a lot easier for them to stretch downwards. And that is pretty much Kai's flat work when he's working in that frame at the moment. He has many different rides varying on what we are doing. As he is young, we don't do this type of work that often, especially because he's so weak, and it's hard for him to keep that frame, so we don't do it for long periods of time or every ride either. And yeah, that was Kai's ride. The next clip I'm about to show you is Kyle, my boyfriend, sitting on Kai. Now this is a massive thing for Kyle. Kyle has only ever ridden Jet before, and even then it's only been a few times. He's cantered around on Jet and rides independently, but before he met me, he had nothing to do with horses. So I've been trying to convince him for ages to get on Kai, just because Kai has been so good, and I completely 100% trust Kai, and trust how he would be with a beginner rider. So this was a massive thing for Kyle to get on Kai, as obviously Kyle has seen Kai through his bad stages. When I got him, first had him under saddle, and he would be throwing me off ride after ride, or just misbehaving, and through his typical baby naughtiness as he was started under saddle. Kai has been a saint for months now and has not dared to put a foot wrong under saddle. He's honestly probably the quietest horse out of my three, and I finally convinced Kyle to hop on him. He didn't do much, he just went for a little walk, but this was massive for Kyle, as having the confidence to get on a 3-year-old, especially a 3-year-old that he's seen do such naughty things, is massive for a beginner rider, and I'm so proud of how they both went. Look who I convinced to get on the best 3-year-old in the world.
He did try to bite me though.
Kai! The flies are annoying, and that's why he's shaking his head. Oh, you're gonna walk, are you?
No.
You put your leg on like you were going to. Go on, give it a little squeeze. He's sensitive, so
okay.
Yeah, he's sensitive. Put both hands on the reins with him. And now ask him to stop. Well done. Nice and square.
That'll do, I think.
Yeah? The steed.